Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the next panel discussion of the PPM Summit. I know it has been a long journey for it's the second day. I'm so glad you're still continuing the journey and you're still following all these ideas from our exceptional speakers. I don't have to present the speakers this time because you have seen them already in the previous panels. We have Beat, we have Finn, and we have Antonio. I will straight away go to the question. So today we'll be speaking about applying adaptive and agile approach to build capabilities value. So my first question is, what are the most important trends in pharma and medtech industry in digitalization? And Beat, would you like to start?
Now you're asking the IT guy again, yeah, first, but so I can only talk from this side. So I'm looking after the manufacturing IT project portfolio of Takeda, and we have here some different challenges. The one thing is as simple as getting rid of paper in the manufacturing sites. Because it takes a lot of time, it leads to errors and mistakes, paper gets lost, it needs to be archived. So a lot of costs that come along with the paper. It's not only the paper itself. So this is one of our biggest endeavors. Also, operations of the manufacturing sites. Also, digitalization goes into this area. So it's not only the work that is done in the sites, but also the operation activities that might be possible to manage then in a central service center, in a country where we have cheaper labor, to have the sites up and running.
Thank you, Beat. Finn, would you like to continue on this?
Yeah, I would actually thought, Beat, you would mention SAFe, all the different flavors of SAFe. I definitely see that within the software environment, SAFe, and in some cases, the different 3 or 4 flavors there is right now, can't even count them. And in this case, for us, where we were a bit software heavy, SAFe was chosen for some time, but it's also now scaled down again and saying that got actually too heavy because everything that was in model got implemented. So it may be heartbeat is what everybody talks about out there, but also just reflect on it and just don't copy it in and start blindly on it. For us, I think what we focus a lot on is the early in kind of the value proposition part, and focus a lot there in getting sort of the early product kind of validation made. So for what I see is we do that because the market changed so fast. We need to be sure that we deliver on things. So we cannot afford the old-fashioned way of using 4 or 5 years and saying, hey, ta-da, here we are. You need to be more on the beat. So we need, what we're forcing ourselves, it's easy in the software domain to make quarterly release. It's much more difficult when you have, in my case, medical devices, to release them much faster. But that's kind of what we're forcing ourselves into and see whether we can live up to. Because else we're not competitive anymore.
Thank you, Finn. Can't agree more. Antonio, your ideas on this?
Yeah, thank you. So, well, knowing that we are still living the COVID pandemic, right? And in some way, COVID-19 brought quite a lot of acceleration in terms of digital transformation. So some of the trends that we are witnessing and we are seeing that are exponentially growing are telemedicine, artificial intelligence, and of course, blockchain. We are starting to see actively in several different domains. Now, the industry in some way, it's still trying to pick up in terms of what has been the reshaping during the COVID and the way that we are engaging and interacting as well with some of the players, with some of the health professionals, the way that our data is being shared among providers and how decisions they are being made about treatment plans and health outcomes, they have been exponentially changing. And in some way of all of that pressure, it's coming over and over in different ways. Now, one area that I have been witnessing that, again, the adoption is increasing quite a lot, it's in the supply chain management. Mainly in terms of how the industry, it's changing in several different parts in terms of the processes like inventory management, transactional data changes, and the way that our products, they are being managed during the entire supply chain from our side, so from the manufacturers into the wholesalers, distributors, and ending on the hospitals, pharmacies, clinics, and then, of course, the most important part of the supply chain, that are the patients, that have been suffering quite a lot of different reformulations. And in some way, not only blockchain, but as well, how Agile is going to support this specific process. It's going to be more than ever a very important part. Now, again, don't wanting to spend all the time with this question, but big data is playing as well, and data science in some way a very important role here.
Thank you, Antonio. And yeah, absolutely interesting points which are coming up. Let's move to the next question, which is what are the key considerations when setting up agile process in life sciences organizations? Finn, would you like to start this time?
Yeah, I think I'll just go to the name of this panel discussion. It says adaptive and applying adaptive. For me, you can go if you want to. Good luck going big bang on setting this up, but that's kind of not in the nature of this agile approach and building capacity and capabilities. So for me, I see that. So for me, it's about making these priorities and what you actually want to change. Be sure that when you're looking at setting up these agile processes, you go for what makes value for you. And then implement them in sprints, in increments. For me, I've seen that you try to put in kind of a new settings with a big kind of whistles and bells and so on. Really doesn't work because you don't have the organization with you. You need to work with what you have, and then you need to build it up. So you can, of course, do that fast by training and other things and new ways of working, but really plan it accordingly. So for me, having buy-in on it, right? Also buy-in with your managers about this is what we're doing. If it's in case, for example, with me, with a portfolio, agile portfolio, it needs high buy-in from the management. And then put kind of priorities in when you deploy it.
Thank you. Wonderful. Beat, would you like to add to this?
Yeah, again, I totally agree what Finn just said. I mean, we as IT, we need to become also more agile. There are a lot of opportunities out there in the world. There are new diseases, new drug developments. Now with COVID, yeah, everybody's also jumping on this, let's say, market, yeah, to help to fight the pandemic. Also, Takeda has built up a plant to produce the biotech vaccine in Japan, yeah? And here we also need to be very agile and just and support the business here to be very fast by building up new capabilities. And so, but here again, as an IT, you're still in second line, yeah. So the business is on the front, they know everything. Yeah, they see the market development, and then here in IT, we get the information quite late. Need to be still able to reshuffle the whole resources and things to support the business. And I think here with a more agile approach, we have here teams that can be switched easily from one project for one epic, as it's called in SAFe, that 5.0. That would be very helpful, and here we need to become better in the future.
Thank you, Beat. Absolutely, I agree that IT, being in IT, it's always like you have a phase lag in getting all the. I feel that has to change as well in the organization, because IT is not just about providing technical support or the system support. It's more a partner. So in this kind of digital environment, I think IT has to go hand in hand with business, and this thing might change, I guess, in the near future. I'm at least looking forward to this change. Antonio, your ideas on this?
Yeah, so 3 main points here, and I think probably the first one is from a tactical perspective, how do we work, and understanding the ways of working, understanding as well the context that we are living, and in some way having all the necessary clarity regarding the processes, the work practices, the communication again, the efficiency of the way the teams are working all together, the individuals, trying to spot any possible kind of conflict and so on. Those are key considerations. Now, from a second perspective, as a second point, the strategy. So mainly, what do we want to achieve with a specific initiative, program, or project? So understanding and having very clear the goals, having a very focus in terms of the customer, our relevant stakeholders, understanding as well the organizational structure, and in some way having very clear with everyone that is part of that initiative is what is the long-term thinking? Where do we want to go with all of this? Then the last part, and probably the third key pillar here, is the organizational identity and the culture of the organization. Because again, sometimes we underestimate the cultures that we are working with, and most important of all, what is the vision? What are the values? How can we engage effectively in the organization that we are operating? So in some way, who do we want to be as well while executing an agile initiative? Now, going a little bit more on the practical side, sometimes what I saw, and they seem very simple concepts, but sometimes testing is quite important because sometimes we try to rush testing cycles, and that typically it's not a good approach according to my experience. And then it's not about I want to go agile, it's about everybody working together for the same outcomes, and having as well executive and business sponsorship with, again, a very clear vision and a very clear strategy.
Thank you, Antonio. Can't agree more. And I really like that you insist on this point of working on the values of the organization to get a deeper level of engagement. And I think it's so important. And we all have a hierarchy of values. Actually, what is number one on my values list might not be number one on your values. And how can we connect? And actually, that is why it's very important for any business relationship to say that what I'm doing today, how is it going to help you in what you are trying to reach on your project? And that is deeply related to the values. So excellent points. Let's move to the next question. What are your best tips on getting the input from different stakeholders? So Antonio, would you start this time?
Yeah, so probably this one I will be very quick because in some way we were already touching quite a lot in different perspectives on what might be a good answer to this question. But I would say during the sprints, it's important the testing cycles. And here the testing means we need as well to bring along our stakeholders, our customers into the testing cycles, because if we don't have a full capacity to inspect, to adapt, and to test, and again, if we want to be successful, we need to fail very soon, but we need to fail together with our product owner, together with the person that was requesting that specific user story or that requirement. So again, from almost like from a user perspective, the way that we engage with our stakeholders, the Agile as a methodology, and thinking a little bit more from a Scrum framework, it's almost like the best methodology and the best framework for that to engage effectively with our key stakeholders. And I would say the sprint reviews, the sprint retrospectives, they are extremely important, not only in the way that we present back to the product owner, to our value team, but as well in terms of how can we validate our assumptions and how can we validate some of the previous knowledge before ending a sprint, and how can we improve.
Thank you, Antonio. Very, very valuable points. And especially I have a few clients who are extremely creative in their retrospectives. They even they made a video. One of them gamified the retrospective. So the whole retrospective was a game with each person playing a role, and that was fascinating for me. So I think yes, it is important, and we can make them more interesting so that we can hook the attention of the people and really portray what was done really well in the sprint and in the project until now. And retrospective is I think it is a kind of presentation or meeting that we can have also in projects which are not agile, because I think it's a very, very universal concept that can be used. Finn, would you like to add your ideas on this?
Yeah, I was just thinking, so we tend to be nerdish. So we talk maybe of DOR, DOD, RTEs, and so on. But and we are the projects, portfolio, whatever we are, we kind of know that what it is, but it doesn't mean that the organization knows it. So use a simple language, use something that can be understood. You were talking about retrospectives for 2 seconds ago. In old fashioned, we were talking about lessons learned, but there's actually a flavor difference of it. So be sure you kind of understand what is kind of behind this language. The language is not important, but it's what we drive it to. So translate it into, if you're working with a bunch of finance guys, try to sort of mimic some of their ways of talking about return on investment in EBITDA, whatever they have, and use the lingo, because it's much easier to drive something forward if you try to relate where you are at and just not boosting forward with some fancy stuff and look smart. Absolutely
agree, and it's so important. And languages, like you have to adapt it, and also like it's something that creates this sharedness bias, because the whole group, the people managing the portfolio, the same team knows the same terms, and the moment the word gets outside, or you have some people getting the reports from this team, they're absolutely unaware of the jargons, of the acronyms which are used. So I think really thinking more of the audience, who especially of these reports and the presentations, and that the whole organization is included in your way of reporting is so important. Beat, your ideas, please.
Yeah, I want to bring in also the strategic level of the organization to the stakeholder discussion here. I personally divide the portfolio management into a strategic level, operative level, where we are collecting ideas and do all the things with project approvals. We execute projects. And at the end, in the fourth stage or the fourth group, we are going to harvest the benefits of our project, which is already then creating input then for the strategic level, because here this goes along with Deming's plan, do, check, act. So we are operatively planning, then we execute, then we check the outcomes of the project. But this is an input then to the strategic level. And here I expect that they are acting. That means that they are also think about the strategy. Where do we want to go? How can IT support? And so this input is for me then important to also then build up the guardrails for our projects, for ideation for our projects. What makes a project or an epic worth to be executed in the portfolio, to get funding, to get resources, etc. So, and here, I think this is sometimes a communication that is not so good. So this at Novartis and also Takeda is a little bit could be improved, so that we have directions and can make the appropriate decisions with our projects.
Thank you, Beat. Wonderful ideas. Next question. I think we answered it partially, but okay, I will ask it again. What are the best digital tools to support agility? Finn, would you like to begin this time?
Well, I can't admit that or avoid and saying I have a one favorite is Jira, but nevertheless, there's a lot of other tools, and I've seen it, and also agree with Beat. The Excel is just perfect because that's fast, agile. You can change it in a minute and so on. So do what you can do. I think what is for me most is how do you marketing this? How do you visualize it? How do you get people actually to run the same thing? Focus on that. And you probably already have a lot of tools in your organization. Most of them can be twisted. So I don't see you need to take a new one just because Beat talks about Excel and I talk about Jira.
Thank you. Antonio, would you like to add your ideas?
Yeah, so a good tool is always a tool that allows the people to communicate and allows to bring simplicity as much as possible, not only in terms of the usage from a team perspective, but as well simplicity in terms of explaining what the tool is all about. So I have been using Jira is always almost like in all the different projects. The other ones, as you were saying as well, Mintun, that is Mural, Miro, those two ones, they are extremely useful, especially for the whiteboard discussions. And another ones that I like to use quite a lot, more from a change management perspective, is Brainshark, MindTickle, and then mind mapping. It's always something that I like to use as much as possible during workshops and sessions. And here, MindMaster, XMind, as mind map tools, they are extremely effective sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I use XMind a lot, and it's a very natural way of remembering things. So absolutely. Beat, would you like to add your ideas to this?
Yeah, still stick on Excel. Yeah. Still, it's important that you do it in a transparent way. So here we have the collaboration tools, which are great. Yeah, where you can SharePoint or MS Teams, multiple people can work on an Excel list. It's great. Yeah, because I use this a lot for have the projects categorize in more details that our PPM tool is allowing us. So I can also divide the portfolio into various sub-portfolios and show also pieces and parts that are going to deliver some value then to the organization, which was super helpful for our budget discussions that we just had. We really see what is going, how we build it up, what are the most necessary projects we are going to plan, and what can we do on top, which is currently unfunded, but also gives benefits, good value to the organization, and we got them even the business to support us directly here for some of the projects. Also great success.
Thank you, Beat. So sorry, Finn, go ahead.
No, I just really want to recommend you go to your IT support. There you probably already have enterprise Microsoft license or whatever. Figure out what you have and what kind of works for you. Don't go out and buy a lot of new tools. And definitely don't go and buy someone that you only use in your dark corner of the PMO or whatever. Use them so you can interchange information.
Exactly. I would really say that. I have so many former colleagues who would negotiate licenses for like 3,000 users, 2,000 users, and actually there were never 2,000 people interested in the organization to use the tool. So it was hardly used by 500 people, and the rest of the money was wasted. So think about it whenever you are going through the from the purchasing department. Like, think about what is your real need, and whenever you are buying tools, think about the enterprise architecture. Like Martin said in the earlier panel, does it fit to your existing enterprise architecture, and can you use it? Is it scalable? Can it be used by the whole organization? And does the information in the tool fit to the existing information in the other tools, and can it be connected? So all of that is very important. So thanks for this wonderful discussion at this panel. We had some interesting ideas. We know that you need to get early production validation of products. You should focus on value proposition. Supply chain management departments are increasingly showing adoption of agile and iterative and adaptive approach. And we should focus on the values. We should use retrospectives more. We should simplify always the way we use the tools. And so many tools are there, complex tools, but Excel as a very simple tool can always be very helpful. So don't underestimate the power of simplicity. You have to really know what is important at this stage, what is going to drive us to the next stage. So with this, I would like to Simona, should I do a little wrap up of the whole day right now?
I would just like to thank all the speakers, all the panelists for the contribution of the day. It was very insightful for everybody, even for newcomers to the industry, I'm sure, and also to the veterans who are in the field for quite some time, because we're talking about the innovation, digitalization of everything. So massive thank you from our side for your contribution. It's been a pleasure having you here. So thank you a lot. And I think, we can just finalize this together with Mitun. So if you don't have any further remarks, gentlemen, then I think we can jump directly to the conclusion of this conference.
Okay. Thanks to everyone. Every speaker, you brought in so much. Thanks for sharing so much, being so honest, mindful, and also being so humble in sharing your ideas. I really, really liked it. We shared so much on agility. That agility is a major is a major adoption happening right now in the big pharma, and it could be important in the ecosystem. We saw so many business cases and especially case presentations of adoptions of decision making. So we know that a rapid decision making model could be really helpful. we do need to be very focused on making priority visible across the organization. Don't let others to hijack your priorities. Limit work in progress. The roles of PMO is underutilized today in our organization. So we need to really go further, make them the facilitators, make them be the drivers of change, and make them the catalysts, and give them more role in being enablers and helping the career management of project managers. We have to also embrace different principles, like pausing before going to the decision making. We need to reject hierarchical models. We need to be more human. We have to do more data cleansing. We should not forget that AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, and all the new techniques, they can be very, very helpful. And our future is going to be very different. And in this future, I think PPM and the role of project manager will be very important. Nothing is going to change. We still need human intelligence and natural intelligence. So no need to be afraid, and you are already doing great. We have a long way to go. So I'm very, very thankful to all the speakers, to Y Summits, so to Miro, Simona, Selena, Martin, everyone for contributing so much to organize, to bring in all the speakers, to manage any kind of technical difficulties, and especially selecting all these wonderful topics, and also inviting all the participants from around the world. So wonderful job. Thank you. And I think all the speeches have been recorded, and they will be available on the PPM workout. So please subscribe it. It's a very little investment of 9.99 euros per month, or 99 euros a year, and you can get a 2-month free use at the beginning with no obligation to continue. So you can just try it out, and if you like it, you can continue it and continue to be a part of it, and you can continue this discussion on PPM. And I guess that is the way to go. We really need to stick together and keep contributing to our world. With this, I give the space back to Simona.
Thank you so much for concluding very well what was happening. There was plethora of topics that were covered in the 2 days. It was so much to discuss. There was 8 case studies, 5 keynotes, and I think 10 panel discussions. So plenty of things to learn and to elaborate on further. And exactly as you mentioned about the PPM workout, all the recordings will be there. We are running slightly late with the uploading. However, by tomorrow, all the recordings from the Munich conference, from London conference, and from Basel conference should be available on the platform. To access them, make sure you join the respective channel of the conferences. So you can go, once you register to the platform, there on the side panel, you can find the channels, and there you find the conferences. So very easy to use. I'm going to drop my email address in case you need any assistance with logging in and registering, finding the information. I'll be sending you also an email on how to access them. So make sure to check it out. I'm going to be sending it from Hopin platform. So the very last email, I promise, no more spamming. So that's just for the logistics. Thank you all so much for coming. And I would like to, in real time, I would say a big round of applause for Mithun, because he did an amazing job of chairing this conference. He was always on top of the game, and he can always point out the main things from every single session, what I found extremely helpful. It was very well done job. Thank you, Mithun. It's been an honor to having you as our chairman. Also, again, thank you all the speakers. I learned so much in those 2 days, and I'm looking forward to having you on other conferences or virtual events that we'll be hosting. Also on this new PPM workout platform, we'll be hosting webinars daily, Monday till Thursday, for like 20 to 30 minutes. So you can find some of the speakers from today's conference or the previous weeks speaking there very briefly, shortly, and you can discuss the topics in greater detail, because, you know, with the real-time conferences, it's like one session after another and another, and there's not so much time to address all the questions that you might have. But exactly for this reason, we developed a platform where you can do so. So we're excited for having you. Thank you, all the delegates, everybody who has been here with us for the entire day or even for some sessions. And yeah, we'll be in touch. Thank you so much and best of luck. Nathan, you're muted. Favorite sentence of this era.
For those who are still interested, we still have a post-session Q&A. So I guess we will continue there. So those who are still available and wish to continue, please join us at the post in the sessions part. Click on post-session Q&A day 2, and a few of the speakers are joining us there. So welcome there, and thank you everyone, and looking forward to continuing the discussion with you.
Okay. Thank you so much. See you in the Q&A session. Bye.
Bye.